have all been in trouble once in our life, whether we were getting in trouble in school with our principal and teachers, at home with our parents, or with the law. We are all guilty of doing something we should not have been. Did you learn your lesson and pay the price of your mistake? According to an article called Learning from Your Mistakes by Brian Tracy, wrote in 2005 on myarticlearchive.com, according to statistics, 70% of all decisions we make will be wrong. This means that some people will fail more than 70% of the time, and some people will fail less. It is important to give teenagers who get into trouble with the law and make a minor mistake for the first time a bit of a break when it comes to handing out punishment. I will address why I think teenagers should get a small break from the law after their first time getting in trouble. I will then explain to you how it could possibly affect their future. And finally, I will explain the best possible solutions for these types of teenagers. If a teenager commits a small crime, they should be punished, but not punished so much that it will ruin their future. Punishing a teenager so harsh could possibly ruin their future by having to tell colleges they are applying for what they did when they were young and made one dumb decision. It could also ruin their future by having to list that crime on a job application even though they committed it at a very young age. You all may know someone who has been in trouble with the law at a young age, whether it's getting in trouble for trespassing, a curfew violation, or maybe even someone who got in trouble at a party. As you and I both know, the person who was in trouble with the law is not a terrible person. They probably have already learned from their mistake and did not make that same mistake again. Just because you made one dumb choice once upon a time in your life, should you suffer that same consequence for the rest of your life? My brother recently got charged for aiding and abetting to a minor, even though he did not provide alcohol for any minors, nor did he hold a party to any minors. He went and picked up an underage friend from a party and dropped her off at her house. In the process of doing so, the minor fell unconscious in her front lawn. Therefore, my brother and the minor's parents needed medical assistance and called law enforcement. That was when he got charged for aiding and abetting. It was his first time ever getting in trouble with the law. He is going to college to earn a degree in law enforcement. Stalking someone can result in the denial of a teacher certification. This statement comes from an article called Criminal Offenses That Will Stop Teacher Certification by Kelly Peacock, published on November 7, 2015 on work.crone.com. Should a teacher be punished for stalking someone just one time in their life? I don't think one mistake should ruin the rest of their life for them. People learn from mistakes. That's why they're called mistakes. According to dictionary.com, updated in 2015, the definition of mistake is an error, action, calculation, opinion, or judgment caused by poor reasoning, carelessness, insufficient knowledge, etc. That being said, I still think people should pay the price for their mistake and be punished in the most appropriate way. I just don't think it should have such a huge impact on their future, such as schooling, jobs, etc. I know I just shared with you how getting in trouble with the law could have a huge impact on your future, but now I will go ahead and go into greater detail the many different ways it will affect you. According to an article named 3 Mistakes That Will Cost You a College Scholarship, published September 3, 2014 by Jacob Davidson on Time.com, Harvard is cautionary tale for would-be rule breakers. The New York Times reports that students at the college found guilty of missing sources, also known as plagiarism, will likely be forced to withdraw from the college for at least 2 semesters and lose credit for that term's coursework. Readmission is also not guaranteed. According to Harvard's website, a student leaving school while a semester is in progress can still be charged over $25,000 in fees depending on their withdrawal date. This punishment is rather harsh to a student that would happen to attend Harvard. It is an appropriate punishment, but very costly for a student's future. Is that crime that bad that they should be punished that harshly? Other ways it could possibly impact your future are not being accepted into college because you are required to write down any criminal mischief other than a traffic violation, being fired from a job when they find out that you broke the law, and criminal records are public records. According to a website, experiencecriminallawyers.com, updated in 2015 and written by Get Lawyer Leads Incorporated. So now that I explained to you how teenagers getting in trouble with the law will impact your future, I will explain to you a few solutions I think would be fair to everyone, including the teenagers and the law enforcement. I believe that the strongest solution to the main problem would be to hand out the punishments such as probation or diversion for the first offense of being in trouble with the law. After serving your punishment, I think your crime should be taken off your criminal record so you do not have a burden on your back for the rest of your life. If this solution doesn't work and the teenager continues to commit the crimes, I believe that he or she should be punished to the full capacity. The weakest solution would be handed the punishment and carry that criminal record with you until you start to apply for colleges and jobs, and then it could possibly be erased off your criminal record. Sarah Albright was asked during a Persuasive interview, "Do you know someone who has been in trouble with the law, and did they get off easy?" She answered with this statement, "The person I know, their crime didn't really harm anyone, but it was still a crime, and I think they got what they deserved by being on diversion and being taught a lesson. Because the person I know now would never do that same mistake the very first time." This interview took place on November 20th, 2015 by a Stanton High School student. You can contact Sarah Albright at 402-841-1763. It is important to give teenagers who get into trouble with the law and make a minor mistake for the first time a bit of a break. When it comes to handing out punishment, I hope I was able to persuade you and help you one day when you or someone you know happens to make a mistake. I explained to you my problem, how it will affect you, and 2 different solutions to handle the problem. Teenagers strive to fit in with their peers as they begin to spend less of their free time with their families and more of it engaged in activities with friends. This is found from the article called "The Effects of Peer Pressure on Teenagers" from livestrong.com on December 18th, 2013 by Karen Kleinschmidt. If a teenager commits a small crime, they should be punished, but not punished so much that it will ruin their future. Punishing a teenager so harsh could possibly ruin their future by having to tell colleges they are applying for what they did when they were young and made one dumb choice. It could also ruin their future by having to list crimes on a job application even though they committed the crime at a very young age.